Serendipity started with the intent to provide an educational alternative for high schoolers, largely in the East Multnomah County area, who were struggling. What really started was a tradition of us being very relationship-based and very centered around the needs of the students that were with us at any given point in time. There was always an understanding that the students who came to Serendipity didn't have to fit the program. The program had to redesign itself to fit the students. And that's continued. You know, there are 95 students today and 81 staff members. So almost instant availability is part of individualizing.
I think it's understanding that in every kid, you know, there's beauty. There's a flower just waiting to bloom, you know? And I think that the community sees that but isn't quite sure on what to do about that. So Serendipity comes in like a savior through the night and is kind of like, you know, here we are. We're gonna show you, you know, that these kids can do well, because they can.
Everyone at Serendipity is a team. That was something that was so clear from like the first moment that I started working here, and was so exciting to me, that there's just so little ego. You know, you come into a classroom and there's such a give and take and an exchange between the staff that everybody's there to help each other.
The people that choose to work here and call this their home, they do so because they love what they do. What it means is there are a group of people who come together to make a difference in the world.
We've made the decision that every child is entitled to an education. Sometimes for learning to occur, mental health needs have to be met first. And so Serendipity exists because there is a population of students in every school, in every community, that have to have access to mental health supports during their school day.
There's a privilege that each one of us has in being able to fit in, have a community. Even if you don't have a family, being able to walk in anywhere and automatically conform. And that is a privilege that these kids are not granted, and a lot of them do not have as they become adults. But the one thing Serendipity offers is always a place where you're accepted for who you are and you belong no matter what you've done.
I had teachers that had my back around the corner. I would have a bad day, they would know about it. And they took action before I even knew I had a bad day. That was the best part. You had somebody in your corner. How can you not be successful?
Many of our students come from traumatized backgrounds. They either have been placed outside of the home, they've witnessed things in the community and in their home that have been challenging for them and they've struggled with.
They come to us misunderstood and feeling like they don't fit, feeling discarded and unwanted.
Part of the impact Serendipity can have is being a voice for kids whose way is not as easy and as straightforward as some of their peers. We can be that voice, and we can remind people that these are kids with unlimited potential. And if we invest in them, we're all going to benefit from that.
One of the great goals here is that over time these kids can learn to work in groups. And that's progress. That's getting ready to live in society, getting ready to be on one's own in a complex society and be successful.
I think that sometimes having a child with mental health issues can be very isolating, socially isolating for families. And I think one of the first impacts that we see is that families in some ways get their lives back.
For our family, Serendipity has made it possible for us to interact with each other and within the community as a normal family should. My child has been able to learn very close to the same rate that is expected of every other child out there. He's been able to learn social skills. That affects him out in community. It also affects him within his own family.
I love the principles of re-education that Serendipity is based on, and I believe in them. And so one that I absolutely love is a child deserves to know some joy every day, and I believe that. So we laugh and we have fun and we create a place where kids feel safe and they can have that childhood experience, and it's a big deal.
Over time, my confidence was building and I felt more and more normal, and I felt more skills were building and they were developing rapidly. And eventually, in like less than like, I don't know, like 3 years, I was, they said I was ready, and that really made me feel proud, because I would miss the school, of course, but you know, it really did help me.
To walk through these corridors and see these kids be taken care of in such a compassionate way, with their needs being met, it's a blessing to the community.
Graduates who come back to see me are in their 30s and 40s now, and a lot of them are parents. And so the stories that I hear are that some of the parenting and some of the structure that's put in place and some of the nurturing that's put in place was learned here.
It's easier for me to see the cycle, pinpoint it out, and then when I have my kids, it's like, oh, we'll break this cycle. You don't have to go through that. I went through that. There's no need for you to go through that. I'll take care of this and I'll guide you the other way.
I think investing in a life when kids are on that fence and can make a decision to go a different way, to start believing that they can acquire the skills, they can show leadership, they can show compassion, they can touch lives themselves. That's a perfect point of investment.
And we rely on the generosity of our community partners and stakeholders to help support us financially so that we can provide the instruction and the intervention and give these students the tools and skills that they need to be successful.